So, fish oil supplements. They contain EPA and DHA, which are basically types of omega-3. And omega-3 is really positive in the body because it has lots of anti-inflammatory properties. And there's been a whole multitude of claims that omega-3 can influence performance. There are claims that it can increase metabolic capacity, delay the onset of fatigue, improve hypertrophy, shorten recovery periods, influence neuromuscular function. We're going to delve into that research now. The first study looked at skeletal muscle, and they did 8 weeks of supplementing fish oil alongside resistance training in younger people. The authors concluded no effect whatsoever on muscle protein synthesis, and the only research that seems to be positive with that is in elderly people. That's probably because the muscle quality and the cell membranes aren't as good. In terms of muscle damage and reducing DOMS, the research is very mixed. One study found that supplementing attenuated blood markers of muscle damage and reduced DOMS, but on the other hand, a lot of other studies have found no difference. So in terms of energy metabolism, in vitro studies and animal studies seem to suggest that we could change our metabolic flexibility. And basically what that means is our ability to switch from one substrate to another. So the theory being we could increase our enzymes and our ability to oxidize fats. But actually when we put that into practice with humans, we can't seem to get it to work, so not that. Studies looking at performance outcomes for endurance performance don't seem to find any effects. In terms of its influence on immune function, we've seen notable increases in good markers of immune function, like natural killer cell activity and interferon gamma, which is all really promising in terms of improving our immune function. The only thing we don't know yet is how this actually is in practice in terms of reducing our incidence of upper respiratory tract infections. We're obviously hoping it will reduce our susceptibility to it. Also, there is some evidence to suggest that it can improve neuromuscular function. Whilst that area seems positive, there isn't a lot of research on it, so we don't know for sure yet. So to quickly summarise all that mishmash of information, it's more likely to improve skeletal muscle and muscle protein synthesis in elderly people. There's mixed evidence about reducing muscle damage and DOMS. Doesn't really influence energy metabolism or endurance performance. There's potentially an influence on immune function, and then anything about neuromuscular function is positive but quite limited. There aren't actually any recommendations yet for its use as a sports supplement. All we know is that on the whole, people don't really consume that much of it. The average adult consumes under 400 milligrams a day. And just to put that into context, 100 grams of salmon, which really isn't very much, will give you 1.8 grams worth of fish oil. So in summary, most of the research is mixed, as you've seen, but there's potentially a benefit there. Even if you decide you don't want to take it in supplement form, just try and increase your intake of actual fish.